we're just going to go and dive right into the very first matchup, and that's going to be the Jags versus the Eagles. So, Kyle, I'm kicking this one to you. With the emergence of Trevor Lawrence and the emergence of that defense in Jacksonville, do you think that Jacksonville has an opportunity to knock Philly off of their undefeated streak?
Oh, I am totally of the mindset that they could do that this weekend. When I look at the Jags and the performance that they had against the Chargers last week, it was one of the more shocking results from week 3. The Jags won by 28 points. They won by the score of 38 to 10 against one of the better up and coming teams in the Los Angeles Chargers, and it wasn't even that competitive of a game. And the Chargers with Justin Herbert and that high-flying offense were just completely hampered by that Jags defense from beginning to end. I mean, to hold that offense to 10 points, that's really an accomplishment for what Jacksonville was able to do last week. And there's a very good chance that that momentum could carry over into week 4 when they go up against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think Jacksonville's in a very good opportunity for this space right here. It's really dependent on whether or not that Trevor Lawrence and that offense can continue the momentum that they had against the Chargers. Just because I thought Trevor did a great job against the Los Angeles Chargers last week. I thought that James Robinson really kind of had a great game against the Chargers last week as well. He got somewhere around 100 yards rushing, broke off a pretty nice run for about 40 to 50 yards on a fourth down that ended up leading to a touchdown. But really, it was their defense that was quite surprising. They were able to get pressure against Justin Herbert. And there's a very good chance that if Jacksonville gets some favorable matchups at the line of scrimmage, there's a chance that they could be able to get some pressure on Jalen Hurts. It really is kind of dependent on what the Eagles run for their playbook this upcoming week, just because when it comes to Nick Sirianni and the Eagles play calling, obviously they loved running the RPO with Jalen. And when you look at the Eagles' offense this year, it's been solid this year. They've been able to score points consistently. They've been able to move the ball effectively. But there is one caveat that comes with the Eagles' offense, is that even though they can move the ball 30, 40, 50 yards down the field, they have had some inconsistency in scoring touchdowns. They've had a little bit of red zone issues when they get to that part of the field and they have to settle for field goals instead of cashing in on touchdowns. That'll be something of note going up against Jacksonville because, well, let's face it, the Jags have only given up 10 points defensively in the last 2 weeks, so they're playing up to snuff. And this is a great challenge for Jacksonville's defense to go up against a very competitive offense that the Eagles have at their disposal. So this is going to be a very fun game as far as I see it. I think both offenses are going to struggle just because I think the Eagles defense is just as capable to slow down Jacksonville's offense like the Jags defense can slow down the Eagles offense. This is not going to be a high scoring game the way that I see it. I think points are going to come at a premium here. I think both quarterbacks, both Trevor and Jalen, are going to struggle in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they turn the ball over once, maybe twice in this game each. So this is going to be an opportunity for both defenses to kind of rise to the occasion and potentially flip a game based off of what they can do on the defensive side of the ball. I think when it's all said and done, though, I think I am going to favor the Eagles here. I have a little bit more faith in Jalen and that offense that I have with the Jags. I think the Jags are just a little bit too inexperienced at this point, but they are heading in the right direction. So it's not really a slight against Jacksonville. It's more of just I have more confidence at the Eagles in this point. And I think when it's all said and done, I'm going to say the Eagles win this one by the score of maybe 24-17. This is going to be a low scoring game, but I think that Jalen does enough for the offense with the Eagles here. And I think that with that defense paired along with it, it's going to be the difference maker going into this weekend.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's definitely going to be a defensive showdown. Obviously, with me cheering for Philly for obvious reasons, and of course, Jacksonville being in my division, I have to, of course, cheer for Philly even harder. So it just tends to go like this. I have faith that Jalen Hurts is going to be able to move the football. Like Kyle said, I don't know if Jacksonville's ready for the spotlight. I don't necessarily know if Jacksonville's played anybody up to snuff like the Eagles outside of Justin Herbert, who did play hurt, but again, no excuses. So Philly having one of the better offensive lines, one of the better running games in the NFL, and at the same time, with the emergence of Jalen Hurts and his dual threat capabilities, I really do believe that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith showed that they are a walking nightmare for opposing defenses, and they're going to be able to move the ball. I agree with Kyle that turnovers may be a factor. Now, whether that's Jacksonville disguising coverages or finding ways to get the ball out in terms of forcing a fumble, we will see what happens. But I do believe that Philly is going to win this game confidently. I do believe it's going to be somewhere around the score of maybe 28-24, something like that, or maybe even 28-17, just because when Philly gets rolling, they really seem unstoppable. And if Darius Slay and James Bradbury can guard the likes of Justin Jefferson and obviously Terry McLaurin and the emergence of Jonathan Dotson, I'm thinking they can guard Christian Kirk. No disrespect to Kirk. I know I disrespected him a few weeks ago saying who the hell was he, but he's been playing really, really good this year. I mean, he's already got almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in just 3 weeks of football. So obviously that signing is doing very well for the Jaguars, and Doug Peterson makes his return to Philadelphia. So I think that this narrative is even bigger than what we're alluding it to be as of right this moment. So I don't know if Jackson was ready for the spotlight. I think that Nick Sirianni and those boys are ready for this type of matchup. Now, I will put this out there as a caution. Jacksonville is playing at a high right now that they have not felt in years. And I mean literally since Blake Bortles was the quarterback. And what was that, Kyle? 2017, 2018?
Yep.
They haven't had this in well over 5 seasons, basically, is what I'm saying. Whole new coaching staff, whole new team, whole new personnel. They might ride their youth and confidence into Philly. And if they were to upset the Eagles, I know it would shock a lot of people. I'm going to sit here right now confidently and say I don't think I'd be completely shocked because of the way that Trevor Lawrence has been playing efficiently at a clip. He's not doing anything too flashy, too risky. He's only got one interception this season. And we all know that James Robinson in the running game with ETN as well, backing him up on third down, have been moving the ball. The thing that I'm worried about right now is the pass rush. I'm not saying that Philly's offensive line isn't going to be able to contain them, but it just really looks like Jacksonville's getting after the quarterback at all facets of what pass rushers need to do. So I'm just going to say I believe that Philly will win, but if Jacksonville were to come out of nowhere with a sliver of a close one, I really wouldn't be surprised. I will give Philly the edge, but I think Jacksonville does have a little bit more of a chance than the two of us are giving them credit for.